Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this exciting and unique edition of Witness to History, this hopefully beautiful Sunday, April 16th, 2023. Tonight, everyone this is a very specially recorded edition of Witness to History. This is our first. Ordinarily, we're with you on Zoom Live, but tonight we are here and we have recorded this actually on March 25th, 2023. As you see, I'm not at home, but as promised, I am at East View United Church of Christ, right here on Van Aken Boulevard, formerly located on Chagrin and Menlo, right in the heart of our Moreland community. I'm Donna Whyte, and I'm pleased to be here today with longtime Moreland residents who are members of East View. Since we're here instead of at our own homes, we decided to record this Witness to History. And so because we're not live, we are not able to take your questions as we're having this conversation. But please feel free to put your comments in the chat and be with us at the end of the program, because we are all here for Witness to History on April 16th, and we can still have more of a conversation when we finish with our recording. Now, as I always do, I'd like to thank a number of people. First, I'd like to thank Reverend Jeremy Wanton, who is the pastor of East View United Church of Christ, for opening his doors to his church today for Witness to History. And I would like to thank Mrs. JoAn Perkins, because she has been instrumental in making arrangements for us to be here today and reaching out with others so that they could join us today. Of course, I must give a big thanks to John Dutton, who is behind the controls as usual, but more than usual, just for finding time in his amazingly busy schedule for us to record this event this evening. I feel like we're in a professional recording studio today. We actually are. If you all could see the equipment, you would know only John could bring this to us. I'd like to thank Megan Hayes, who is always with us for Witness to History, and she posts our Witness to History programs on the Shaker Heights Library site. And Kevin Kay, who's with us in the church today. Thank you, Kevin. I believe, and I will share, that this was Kevin's idea to bring together members of East View, the significance of the church, and of course the significance of members of our community who are members of East View United Church of Christ. And so, I would like to say again, good evening, everyone. And I'm just going to ask everyone who's with me, we have this wonderful group of East View members with us, if each one of you would introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm JoAn Kirkland, and I'm a member of East View United Church of Christ, and I've been here maybe about 20 years now. And this is a new building that we're in. We were first at the other building on Chagrin Boulevard. Yes. I think that's what it was. And we've been here since about 4 years now. Is that about right? About 1 year? Well, not in this building, exactly. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
We're going to pull the microphone up a little bit, just a little bit.
I'm sorry to hear what I'm saying. And so it's a church that we reach out to the public and to our group, especially the district that we're living in, Shaker Heights, Ohio, most of it. And most of the people, we do different things with the children, and we also do things with the movies, and have a men's day where they do their own thing when they want to, when they come in. And so, and we're a family group. That's the way we feel about one another. You know, we reach out to one another. And we have love one for the other. Oh, and so we're trying to reach out, as I said, to the area that we're living in. And we hope that God blesses us to be able to do that.
Thank you. Thank you. Just pass it on to Mrs. Sharon Curry.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sharon Curry. I've been a member of East View since 2008, I believe it was. And there, I love the church there, and I was an usher there. So it's still a very nice church family to be with. And let's see what else I could say about this wonderful building that we have. Oh, and there's so many different activities we can be involved in here.
That's true.
Yes, and it involves a lot. I would like to see maybe we can get some things going where we can get our youth back in the church. But right now, it's an awesome church, and the family that we came from is still together, and more people are joining us, which is awesome. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Earline Hooper. And first of all, I'd like to thank JoAn Perkins because she was instrumental in getting me here. I am not really a member of East View. However, I have worked in East View Church for over 20 years, and I feel very comfortable with the setting because I know practically everybody here. Reverend Lassiter, one of your exciting pastors, was my neighbor, my next door neighbor, and he kept us abreast of what was going on, and my husband and I actually used to come to visit East View, and I still like to know what's going on. I am just so pleased that you have been promoted to I liked the old church. I really did like it an awful lot. But I'm especially pleased with this one. I'm sitting here looking at this beautiful view and thanking God for the progress that you have made. In the past, not only did I work with the Vacation Bible School, I worked with the children each on the Martin Luther King essay contest, and I worked with anytime you asked me to come. If I were available, I was there. So I'm in a comfortable setting. I'm thankful that you've asked me to be a part of it, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Okay, wonderful.
JoAn Perkins, and I've been at East View since 1967 as a member. I came a little before that. We moved up here in '64, and I checked out a few churches just to see what was going on in the neighborhood. I liked where I was, so I stayed where I was till my car died. Then I had to catch 3 buses to church, so in '67 I started going to East View down on Chagrin because I had 2 little boys, and I didn't feel like fighting the bus with them. So we started then, and I don't think I really actually joined till '76 when Reverend Lassiter was there. John Houston was there when I started, and his wife Barbara and I had a few words about me going upstairs to church, and I said, no, I stay where my children are. And so I stayed downstairs in Sunday school for the next 40 years.
My name is Susan Broach, and I'm a member of East View. I've been here for probably over 30 years. I follow my aunt, JoAn Perkins, formerly an usher for East View, and now I'm on the Christian Education Committee.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we will go to our first slide. And we'll ask, I think most of these early pictures I would like to talk about Reverend Lassiter. I would like to talk about Reverend Lassiter because when I moved into Moreland in 1982, I had to remember what year we moved in, I was very familiar with East View because East View felt like Moreland's church, very much because of Reverend Lassiter, and we are, pleased to have a photo of him here. But JoAn, I'd like for you to ask, for you to share with us just a little bit about the history of the church.
We celebrated our 110th anniversary in 2012, and our pastor just walked in. Come on up here, Reverend.
Thank you for being here.
Yes, ma'am.
We didn't know that you were going to make it.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Please
Yes,
just-
ma'am. Well, thank you for even hosting it here at East View. I'm aware of the work that you all have been doing. Ms. Perkins has filled me in on a lot of it. But had to get here today. We were out celebrating another member's birthday, but left that early to come and be with you all and just witness this. I've been at East View now for 4 years. I know even in my short time here, there's a lot of rich history here in Shaker Heights in this neighborhood. So to be a part of that and kind of weave into that fabric is amazing, and I don't take it for granted, but it's been a privilege. Yeah.
Wow, so nice. I didn't know you were going to make it wonderful. What a nice surprise. Stay here with us. So we were going to say, and Mrs. Kirkland, it looked like you had some information about Reverend Lassiter.
Well, I'll just speak loud enough so you can.
Oh, yes. Here you can
She
use it.
mentioned,
Yes.
someone spoke about, oh, thank you, Dr. Valentina Lassiter, and I have one of the magazines from our church, and it said, in memory of our pastor, the Reverend Dr. Valentina Lassiter, who served us faithfully for 36 years. And they said about him that Reverend was father, pastor, teacher, and friend to all he met. He loved everyone and truly demonstrated the love, compassion, and joy of the Lord wherever he went. And he said in the first page of the book, magazine, he said, I approach God in the morning, sitting in my prayer chair. The hours I spent there make it a sacred space that helps me block out distractions. I find that listening to quiet gospel music helps lift my soul. The promises from starting my day with prayer are held in the words from an old hymn. If you see God in the morning, you will have him through the day. And that was what he did. And there's a photograph of him that in the magazine that we have from Eastview Church, if those that you have it. And
This is an ad that went out for our 100-year anniversary, and this is what it was saying. Eastview United Church of Christ at 15615 Chagrin Boulevard, Shaker Heights, Ohio, will be celebrating their 100-year anniversary on December the 31st, 2012. The anniversary theme is Living Our Faith Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. Our anniversary scripture is Hebrews 12:1. Our kickoff event will be on September the 30th, 2012. It will begin with a prayer walk from 137th and Kinsman, that's the site where the services previously had been, to the new site at 15773 Chagrin. A spiritual gathering will be held on the church lawn, followed by our morning worship service. For more information, contact the church office. We still have that same number, 216-921-7673. Amen.
okay. It says about Eastview, living our faith yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Eastview United Church of Christ continues to grow in the Spirit of the Lord. And each day that passes adds to the history of our church and makes us determined to run the race that is ahead of us. We are thankful and grateful to God for giving us spiritual, physical, and financial blessings which have enabled us to do his work and his will. Hebrews 12:1 said, we've heard this before, such a large crowd of witnesses is all around us. So we must get rid of everything that slows us down, especially the sin that just won't let go. And we must be determined to run the race that is ahead of us.
I would like to ask Ms. Sharon Curry to walk us through some of the photos, because I know that you've taken these beautiful pictures. Beautiful pictures.
Okay, this is after a wonderful service by our pastor, and no one could leave. We were still loitering around, and there was Mrs. Perkins. She was staying after service, waiting for the crowd to leave. And then in our hallway, before everyone exit, we had the family here, and they hadn't left yet, but they agreed to let me take pictures. And as you see, the crowd trying to get through. I'm stopping everybody, and there I stopped the pastor's mother and father and asked for a picture from them as well. The people in the background tried to stay until I left. They didn't want pictures taken. And that's Reverend Lassiter at our service on Kinsman.
Yes. Walk us through some others.
Okay. Let's see, names. Help me think of the name
Now,
of our
isn't that
TV
Eleanor?
person. Yeah, Eleanor Hayes from TV5 and her mom, Ruth Hayes. They attend service here as well. Oh, yes, that's all of us at the thrift shop that work there with the hours we were showing. And the pastor stopped down to bless us too, and our custodian is in the picture holding up the flyer.
Well, tell us a little bit about the thrift shop. That
Awesome.
may be how many people in the community know about the church. Did you have a thrift shop when you were at the other location? Yes,
Yeah.
the thrift store.
The thrift store we kept it in the same location as it had been, so it's in the lower level of the church. We're here on Winslow, on Winslow, where it was in the lower level, and we're open Fridays and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to noon, to 2 o'clock, 2 p.m., yes. Okay.
Oh, summer
4 to
hours.
8.
Okay,
I
you're
didn't
open
know
more.
that. And we have a picture of myself and Reverend Lassiter's son, Jeremy.
Jeremy.
He was here. We were dedicating the library to his father, and he was
nice.
at the service that day.
Very nice.
Yeah.
What's on?
Yeah, the front of the church.
Yes. Is that the library?
That's inside the library.
Wow.
Yeah, people were cruising by. As I said, we had dedicated it to Reverend Lassiter. And the ladies on the other side, our pastors, is that Peggy? Yeah, Peggy. Peggy Brown. Yes, let's correct that. Reverend Brown, and I don't know her name. Okay, Pat. And we all know Miss Elder. And
Yes.
next-
Actually, Mrs. Elder will probably still join us today.
Hope
If we
she
can point
does.
her out, yes. She's there in the blue, right?
Yeah.
Am I right? Okay.
Yeah. They're both members. Everyone are members. And this is after service one Sunday, after a wonderful sermon from our
Yes.
pastor. And on the other side, I'm standing on the porch, and I wanted to get that picture to capture that in 1965, I think it was. Yeah, 65. Yes, Martin Luther King was asked to speak at the church, and he wasn't allowed or no one to come into the church. So I don't know if it's a rumor or not, but it was said that the bleachers from the church was taken up. And it's a fact. Oh, that's really. Oh, wow. Okay. So that's the truth then. They took up all the bleachers so no one would come in and sit. And he had to speak from the podium. And there was over 1,000 people attending outside to hear his talk on the porch. Yeah. And that's it right there. Oh, those are new members on the end there. They joined the church one Sunday, and we had an event, picnic, and they came to our picnic. And also, they're graduates of John F. Kennedy, June 1970.
And why is that an important event?
I guess because,
Why would you bring that up?
yes, why would I bring that up? that was the year I graduated.
Yes,
so
right,
I thought
right.
I'd throw
By
that
the way.
picture in there. By the way, yes. Yes, okay. And that's our pastor there. It looks like it was a snowy or rainy day that day. And was that our last service?
Okay.
No, that was our first Sunday here.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was our first Sunday here. Yes, and he was saying a blessing that day, and that was our first Sunday, and that was the parishioners outside as we listened to him speak, and you could see people had their cell phones listening to the things he was saying.
Trying to get him hurry up so we can get in.
Because it was cold outside.
Did everybody hear that?
Okay.
That's pretty good.
And there was a celebration going on here. I think it was a safety program for the police and
Nice.
Safety Sunday, yes. And our finest, the Shaker Police and Fire Department, was in attendance here. And we wanted to, they do come every year, and we wanted to thank them for
nice.
their service.
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. This is when we were at our other location on Chagrin, and it was Black History Month. So as you see the attire that the pastor had on, and can you help me with who that is with him?
I believe Sister Hicks, I believe.
Oh, okay. Shirley Hicks, it sure is, yes. And then we have Miss Kirkland, and Marian Elder hasn't arrived yet. They were at a picnic at Shelton Park together, and I got a snapshot of them.
That's Reverend Laster's granddaughter.
Oh, nice, nice. Now, I want to know if I could interject here, just quickly. A few weeks ago, I know that Mrs. Elder gave a testimony. She had told me that she would, and I said, oh, I should go to church, but I went online. Would you mind telling us about her testimony a few weeks ago?
Yes, absolutely. Mother Elder, we, as we often do, talk just about what God did in her life some years back. And one of the things that we often do here at the church is make those spaces available for people to be able to share their testimony. So one Sunday, I'm sitting right there in my chair, and the choir gets up, and I feel this presence walking down the aisle, and this Mother Elder walking towards the choir stand as she sings one of her songs that, again, is just reminiscent of what God had done in her life to preserve her life. So it's those special moments that I think it allows all of us to connect in some way and just kind of join in, and maybe not in the same specific testimony, but causes us to reflect on our own lives and what God has done. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing. Yes. Anybody else want to chime in? Some of the events that have been occurring. There's a beautiful picture. Sharon Curry, you take wonderful photos. Yes, you capture everybody. You capture everybody. And, just to let you know, the center photo is Mrs. Kirkland and Mrs. Elder there together. Beautiful photo.
She
and
was
Reverend Lassiter's
holding the
grandchild.
baby, and I wanted a turn to hold the baby too. So we were taking turns holding the baby.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
Now this, Mrs. Perkins, can you tell us, I think you gave us this slide.
This is a list of our pastors from the beginning. As you see, our newest pastor, 4 years old now,
Yes.
came to us in
2019.
2019, and we've definitely been blessed. Reverend Laster sent him to us.
Oh. Oh, really?
I know
oh,
he had a
okay.
hand in it. We've been very fortunate. After Reverend Lassiter passed, we did have an associate pastor and then 2 other pastors that were in the church, and they took over until Reverend Jeremy Wanton came along. And now we've been very blessed being here. That's our school bus.
Okay.
Our big
Tell
white
us
bus.
about
We
the school
went all
bus.
over the city and out of town a bit in that bus. Quay Buick was in still working at that time, and they took the bus that was donated by the telephone company
They donated it to us, and they repaired it and put a new motor in it.
Oh,
Didn't
nice.
charge us anything,
Oh, my
thank goodness, or we
goodness.
wouldn't have been able to afford it.
Wow. I know you had a connection with Mr. Quay.
Yes.
Yes, we heard
Yeah,
about
the
that.
Quays, we were really tight buddies,
Yes.
all the Quays. So they kept the bus running. Every time something happened, they came, picked it up, and repaired it for us. But we used that for our day camp. Had to fight with the church to cover the insurance on it. But you know, anytime the church had to give up money, we had to fight. So
Okay.
we did that and managed to keep the bus running. And then we were at the Science Museum at that picture on the right.
Nice. Your
We took the
commitment
kids
to youth.
all over the city.
So many programs with
Yeah,
young
we
people.
did day camp for a few years.
So many programs. Tell us what
And
this
of course, we did quite a few parades. We always did a little float for the parade. Yep, and we're marching up there, going down Van Aken. And we had Girl Scouts and Cub Scouts.
Yes, actually, I do want to, interject here because when I'm going to forget when it was, but everybody knows this, that Mrs. JoAn Perkins was our guest on Witness to History. I think it was in 2021. It was a little bit ago. And so you shared with us, so much wonderful information about how you and your husband were in the scouting and your sons all in the military. So, and we know also that today, or this weekend, the weekend of April 16th, you are out of town. So tell us where you are.
Yeah, April the 16th, I will be in Tennessee visiting my son who's joining the Catholic Church. He called me and asked me how I would feel about him joining the Catholic Church. When he got married 24 years ago, he agreed to raise any children they had in the Catholic Church because her family is Catholic. So now he's fulfilling his vows. I told him I didn't really care where he went to church as long as he was in church.
Yes.
One God.
Yes.
So that's where I'll be. I'm going to visit him for 4 days. That's long enough.
Yes, that's nice. That's nice. Yes, do you want to share something with us, Mrs. Hooper? Yes, go right ahead, please. Yeah, put it
I just want to say that Eastview has grown so beautifully because of these people who are, some of the ones who are sitting here, Mrs. Perkins and Jewel Kirkland, so many of them, and others that have gone on to be with the Lord. But I just want to say that in 1912, I believe it was, that this church was officially given their go-ahead, to just go ahead, because they'd had so many difficulties trying to get started. And look at you now. You've come a long way. And it's because of people who are strong, who have been so strong. And now you have a minister that's been sent by Reverend Lassiter. That's all you need. That's all you need. We're just so thankful for the progress that this church has made. And even though I'm down at St. James, I can always stop by. Praise the Lord.
I'd like to pass the mic to Miss. Yes, Miss Bergen's niece. Tell us about yourself. And you said that you grew up in Moreland.
Yes,
You grew up in
I went
Moreland?
to Moreland Elementary School.
You can always come back. Okay, so tell us about yourself.
And then from there, my junior high was Woodbury,
Okay.
and then I graduated from Shaker Heights High.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful.
And at the time, my mother, there were 4 girls. I have 3 sisters, and we all lived in a duplex upstairs from Miss Perkins.
Oh, is
We
that
grew up there, so I never would have had that experience had it not been for my aunt and uncle. And I'm really grateful
Oh, my
for them.
goodness.
That's why I can never say no when she asks me to do things.
Yes.
I can't.
That's wonderful. So you're not in the Moreland area right
Not any
now,
longer, no.
but
No.
you're still here at Eastview.
Pardon?
You're still here at Eastview.
Yes, I'm still here at
Yes,
Eastview.
yes,
Yep.
so nice.
Try to
Every
be
Sunday, what a blessing.
almost.
What a blessing.
Yep.
I want to ask Reverend Wanton, how did Reverend Lassiter send you here?
Well, really, I knew Dr. Lassiter, number one, because we own a funeral home here in the city of Cleveland. So that was my initial encounter with Dr. Lassiter at a young age, just being on services. But as I got older, when we would attend, or I would attend the Hampton Ministers Conference in Virginia every year, I would always see Dr. Lassiter. So I really just think through those seeds that he planted and God working in the backdrop of my life, somehow I ended up here. Yeah, just to give a little insight on the story. So the year 2018, I believe, East View, as we typically do, have our spring revival, and a friend of mine was supposed to preach the last day but could not make it. I think I had just moved back to Cleveland. He reaches out, asks me, could I go? I tell him yes. I come here because I know the type of preacher Dr. Lassiter was. I brought my best Sunday school lesson that I can find, and I got out of there, and about a week later, Reverend Rice reached out to me, told me, where the church was at in the search process, and asked me, what I consider. And I prayed for a couple of weeks, and I felt God lead me in this direction. And ever since I've been here, you can just see the hand of God just working. So it's been a blessing. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Yeah, that sermon was dynamic that he preached his first sermon.
Okay.
It was a very good sermon. I told him they better get you here.
Yeah, right. That was his interview. He may not have known, but that was it. And it was successful. Did you want to share something, Ms. Kirkland?
Well, I'm just looking at some of the children there and how they look so pleased and so happy there. And it reminded me of the great schools that they have in Shaker Heights. And if you want to go to a special school or something, come to Shaker Heights, because they have special private schools. Like one of my granddaughters was accepted at one of the, what's the name of the school? The Laurel.
Yes.
Laurel School. Most of you know we have other ones too here in the city. And she went to the Laurel School, and when she finished Laurel School, believe it or not, we didn't have no money or anything, but believe it or not, she was accepted when she graduated from Laurel at Harvard. She was accepted at Princeton. She was accepted at 3, 4, 5 Columbia South. All of those schools she was accepted at just from going to school right here, normal kids like these children I'm looking at now, in Shaker Heights High School. And then when she finished, like I said, she was able to go to all of those schools and graduated from them, from just going to Shaker Heights schools right here. And you know what happened at the end of that? She works for Google now. And that is a great thing that you got just from going to school and learning what the kind of things that Shaker offers you from going to school here, And so I thank God for that.
Yes. Would you go to the next slide? All right.
Because we know, thank you very much, we know that Eastview has always encouraged our young people.
Absolutely.
And when Mrs. Kirkland was addressing the progress that her daughter and her children have made because of Shaker, it brings to mind what my son said to me. He started at Wittenberg, and then he transferred to the University of Miami because of the music program they had there. And he said to me, he was so glad that he had made the switch. Not that Wittenberg was not a good school, but he felt so good about the the fact that he had been at Shaker and had such a strong background in his English and his social studies and all of the subjects, and he just felt very proud in comparison to some of his other classmates. So rah for Shaker.
Oh, wonderful. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. What a compliment about the schools. Now, I understand that Eastview attracts a few famous people or, people who we all know. So I would venture to say that the news, I'm going to tell you about this. Okay. So when we all know who Michelle Obama is, so I don't have to share with anybody who this person is, on the left. And we had heard that she was going to be in Cleveland. She gave a presentation. I think we tried to get tickets. They were all gone. And so then I think we heard that she had been at a church. I mean, that's all I heard was she had been at a church. I don't know how long after that time I found that it was East View United Church of Christ. I said, get out of here. So, for those of you who happen to have been a witness, please share with us the experience of meeting our former First Lady.
I like to say I'm an usher here, and I didn't know that she was here. So I came to church that Sunday and wondered why the street was blocked off. I couldn't figure that out. So I found the parking space and I came in. And in my position where I stand to usher, there was a guy standing there seating me. And I'm wondering, why is he seating me? I'm an usher. It was Secret Service, but I didn't know that. Yes, and then the service started. It was time for an offering, and I come down the aisle, and who was sitting on the second row but Michelle Obama. She had been at our book discussion that morning and stayed over for the service.
Was anybody else? Well, share a few words about how that felt. All right, Reverend?
I was actually the only person who knew that she was coming. That week, the week prior, a team had flew in from New York to sit in our service because we knew that they would be there filming for the book club. They came in that Sunday prior. We talked, signed some paperwork. That week, I get sick with a stomach bug. I'm at home. They reach out to me and say, one of their colleagues wants to have another sit down with me and talk. I have him come to the church. Our secretary was there just to show him around and answer any questions. By that Friday, our secretary messages me and said, Pastor, the gentleman is back, but he needs to talk to you. So I come in. We're in our old location. My office sits on the second floor. As soon as he comes in the office, he asks me to shut the door. Now I'm wondering, why are we shutting? There's nobody else here in the building but us, But I look outside, and kid you not, as soon as we are closing the door, I see an unmarked car riding through the parking lot. So I sit down. He asked me, well, how much do you know about what's going on this weekend? I told him what I knew, and he says to me, well, Michelle Obama will be here Sunday. And my first reaction was, okay, where are the cameras? Stop playing with me, But no, we proceed. He goes over some of the details. And as you can imagine, I'm 29 at the time. It's only my second month here at the church. And he expects me not to tell a soul for the next 48 hours, But the plan was to she would arrive on Sunday morning, which she did. We weren't allowed to let anybody into the sanctuary, to the building, until the time of service, except for the book club. So as you can imagine, again, once service starts and people are walking in, you can see the expression on their face as amazement. Yeah.
One for the history books here at East View. Yes.
Yeah, when I got to church, all I saw was security cars, Shaker police, the Secret Service, all over the place. I couldn't get in the church. I saw Reverend Rice was walking back. You might as well go sit in your car. The doors are locked. You can't get in. We couldn't get in until 11 o'clock. They locked us out, our church.
Wow. So were any of you able to be in that small conversation with her that day?
I was out of town that
Oh,
I was so mad when
had you known.
I would have canceled my trip.
Yes.
A lot of people were upset because people that used to come to the book club opted out of coming that day. And they all came and tried to get in, a lot of them. But if they hadn't been previously screened, they couldn't get in. They had to have a pass to get in. So they were upset. Tickled me, though. Should have been there.
Nice, very nice. That was wonderful. I mean, just what a blessing. What a blessing. And then, Sharon Curry, I see you here with another famous person.
Danny Glover, yes. He was just getting off a plane, and he came straight into our church. And he was here to promote voting for Nina
Turner.
Turner.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
And everyone took pictures with him that day. I wasn't the only one. And he was eager to take pictures with a smile for everyone. Yeah. But he was at our service and he spoke that day.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, Mrs. Hooper, you're not a member of East View, but if you want to share some of the ways that you've been involved with the church.
Well, as I spoke before, I was very much involved in the Vacation Bible School for a while, and I was also involved in the Martin Luther King contest. We would have the students would, I was so impressed because it wasn't just these few students that were made welcome to be a part of this activity. Students from all over the city of Cleveland and outside had the opportunity to present their contest. And so we were a part of the group that was reading the essays and determining who would be the winners. And that was a great occasion. I always had a great feeling about Reverend Lassiter, because every time I spoke about Reverend Lassiter, and I was in the presence of someone who knew him, they would say, that's a great man. He's a great man. And he certainly was a great man to everybody. He was this whole community. And Eastview was his heart. He just loved Eastview. And he loved everybody who came to Eastview, but he loved everybody who went anywhere that he could help you. And that was a beautiful part about him. And we'll all have pleasant memories of that great man. Thank you.
Miss Hooper helped tutor our children at Eastview. We had an after-school tutoring program, and we did day camp, and we tutored the kids during day camp too. So Miss Hooper was one of our teachers. We drafted everybody that were walking and able to get to church. And as long as they could read and write, they helped tutor our kids. So we had a great thing going there for a while.
Well, tell us a bit about some of the activities now. We know about the thrift store, but what are you doing in terms of other activities, Reverend? Oh,
wow, we have a laundry list of things that we're doing. Community work, social justice work is a passion of mine. So since I've been here, we've launched a mission group called Matthew 25, where our core focuses actually extend from Shaker Heights Health Assessment, where we took a look at that and some of the four problematic areas in Shaker, which is structural racism, linking clinical and public health, chronic disease management, and eating healthy, active living. So we've built our mission team off of those areas. But we have partnered with, we've adopted AJ Rickoff right down the street. Oh, wow. Really? Okay. Okay. Small world. Yes, ma'am. We adopted them in 2020. So we're constantly partnering with them. Of course, the city of Shaker Heights. We work quite closely with Keith Lankford and the work that he's doing here in Shaker, the Normal Hearst Center. We are in the process of reorganizing our food distribution center. We had a food pantry here, but we're kind of restructuring that. We've also, in the last year, through just building relationships with the Cleveland Foundation, we were a part of this cohort now. So for the next 2 years, we are being trained on capacity building by a woman named Janice Small. And through that cohort alone, it has opened up so many avenues just for additional partnerships. But again, you name it, we've probably already tapped into it. We have the community garden across the street where we're looking to partner with nonprofit organizations to distribute food, as well as we are reinstituting this youth program in which throughout the summer months, we will invite Shaker students and just students in the area rather to come and receive a healthy hot meal. We'll have open mic night to get some of our minorities involved in poetry and music and some of the arts, as well as also get them involved in the community garden where we can kind of train them on a new skill or a lost skill, if you will. So again, our hands are really busy in what we've been able to do. Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. Now, Mrs. Elder has just joined us. I think we just need another chair. Uh-oh. Well, one of the things that I want to say, I think Reverend Lassiter had been at the church for 30 years, 36 years. Reverend Wanton, you have been here for 4 years. You're working on your 30 more years.
We're keeping him.
Yeah, okay, you hear that? They're keeping you. So you're here for the duration, And I would like to welcome Mrs. Marian Elder here with us in our conversation. Okay, yes, we're glad that you can be here and join us. Your timing is perfect because we were just getting ready to talk about Marian Elder. And welcome to our conversation. So as you can see on the monitor, there's a picture of you there. And, you know, I have to let you all know I just had this wonderful conversation with Mrs. Elder the other day. And she shared many, many wonderful stories about her life and many awards that you have received. And we will have more of a conversation. But if you could share with us, we have slides, we have the pictures that I took. And if you would just share with us some of your wonderful stories. Just tell us what this is. I think it says Crown Queen.
Okay.
Talk right into the microphone.
I'm a member of the Greater Cleveland Core chapter. And we have a convention every year. And when we was in Orlando, Florida, I was crowned queen for the Cleveland chapter.
You all are
Okay.
okay. Royalty, folks. All right. This is okay. Here we are. I could not. Okay.
Okay.
Tell us who this is.
This is a picture of my family. I'm in the middle. My oldest son, William, my youngest daughter, Gloria, my other daughter, my namesake, and then my other son, David. They're in that picture.
And we know who this beautiful person is on the right. Yes, that's a beautiful picture of Marian Elder. That's all your children.
And that's a picture of my daughter. We were in D.C. She was receiving an award. That's my granddaughter, April. That's me with the hat on. That's my daughter, Gloria, at the end. She's the mother of the granddaughter. And this is a picture of my daughter, her 3 children, Jimmy, April, and Terrence.
Now your grandson, Jimmy, was also in the military.
Yes, they all were in, he was in the Marines. And, the other grandson, he was in the Navy and the Army.
Now, yes, tell us about your military family here.
Okay, my
Yes,
daughter,
yes.
she spent over 30 years in the military. She was in the Army, the Navy, and retired from the, where did she retire from? Air Force. She was a flight nurse. So she spent over 30 years in the military. That's my grandson to the right here. He was in the Navy and the Army. At the bottom, that's my oldest son, William. He spent 20 years in the Army. Okay? Okay, that's the proclamation I received while I was working for the Cleveland Health Department from the mayor, Voinovich.
Yes.
Now, I can't see the writing. You want to read it?
Oh,
I
mean,
was,
proclamation from
okay.
George Voinovich. Yes. No, we can't read it. Yes.
I was chosen the Employee of the Year. There I received 3 days with pay, and each clinic was to recognize those days as Marian Elder's Day.
Oh, all right. All right.
Okay, and there's another one there, from my church. I'm having problems
Yes.
seeing. Okay, for service for senior companion through Benjamin Rose. There's another one from Shaker Police Department. And where's the other one from? Senior Companion? The other one was from the church. Okay.
You recognized all over.
Okay. There I am with the group. I was with the Six City Golf Club for over 30 years. I was the only female. And I would make up match games for different clubs. And those are the programs that, with my picture in it, what I was doing. Over the 30 years I was with the Six City Golf Club. We were the oldest black golf club in Cleveland.
Wow. Now,
And I was known as Miss Six City.
Miss Six City. The only woman in the golf club. The only woman.
And they were mostly professional folks, you know, lawyers, doctors, William C. Wright, and lawyers, doctors, dentists. But I was just little old Miss Six City.
And we talked a little bit about, you know, I just the conversation we had the other day was just wonderful. And you talked a lot about your daughter you call Captain D, and shared so many of her talents, so many of her gifts. And she's also a nurse. So we're, you know, in good company here, you know, with nurses here, right? You know, in our, you know, with our conversation. So any final words here? Anybody want to share about East View or what you would like to share about yourself so that people will remember this day?
Well, I'm so happy that we came out today. I know when I first came out this morning, I took a look around and I heard the thundering and the wind was blowing, and I said, "Oh my God, what's happening now?" Because it looked like it was going to be a nice day, but God blessed us anyway to be here and to have something to say about our church and our community and the kind of things that we're doing. And it's blessed us. It's blessed me, I know, with my children. He's done a lot for my children. And I thank the Lord for that, you know, for the things that he's done since they graduated from Shaker Heights High School. I had a daughter that went to the military, graduated from Shaker High School, and she's a veteran, and she was there like 20-some years, and Shaker had a lot to offer, you know, our families that while we were here. And so I thank God that we did come here, you know, in Shaker, and the things that have happened in our community. I will say that, and I think it's a great place to live, especially if you have children, if you want to do it. And I have a lot, as you know, a lot of children, and they've done a lot. Shaker's blessed them a lot, so I will say that he's blessed us a lot.
Thank you.
Did you want to say
Sharon.
something?
Well, also, I wanted to mention that this church is not some place that you could come and just sit and go home. There's so much to do, and the pastor always have something of interest for someone. And then if you're not able to do it, he recognizes those people who are not. You don't feel bad that you couldn't make it to everything. He acknowledged those people too. And there's something for everyone. There's summertime, there's picnics, there's the thrift store that the exercise, bowling, welcome new members to the church. There's just so many things. It's not just coming to sit and listen anymore and go home. There's other things, other involvements you can do, and he's taken the church to a higher level, and I appreciate all the things that he's doing and bringing to Eastview. And I'm almost like Martin Luther King. I might not be able to get there with all the accomplishments he makes in the future, but I'm glad to be a part of it now.
And he was here too
Yes.
at one time. He came to visit us.
I just want to close by saying I'm glad to be a part of Eastview. I congratulate you sincerely about the progress that is obviously taking place with
every area of the church. We certainly do need you. We need you, Eastview. So keep up the good work.
We're glad to have Sam Hooper.
I just really am thankful that we have a pastor. I didn't think anybody could fill the shoes, not that the shoes are filled, but of Reverend Laster, because he was such a great pastor. But now that we have Pastor Wanton, things seem to have just continued on. And I'm just very thankful to be part of it.
Yeah, we have 3 floors here, and every floor is busy. Pastor has so many programs going, we can't get involved in all of them because we don't have enough time. He keeps inventing new things, so we keep going and going and going, but we have so much going, and we're able to do so much more in the community. So I'm very thankful that he's here, and we plan on keeping him.
And Mrs. Elder?
I'm proud to be a member of East View. It keeps me busy doing one thing after another one. I'm in the choir, I'm a deacon, and I participate in what other activities there are available. Thanks all of you for being a part of what East View have to offer.
This was wonderful. Oh my goodness, thank you. I can't say enough about how this is just a blessing to our community. I'm sure that everyone will agree. And even though you are just a few blocks from where you were, you're still in the neighborhood. And I thank everyone for being with us today, sharing your time and sharing your wonderful information about East View United Church of Christ. It's a real blessing that your Pastor Wanton was able to join us as well. So I think we have the final slide, our usual final slide, and we're always looking for guests for Witness to History. And so what I would like to share with you is that you can email me, Donna Whyte, with a Y, 1@gmail.com, or give me a call, and I'll say this because it shows up on the slide, 216-509-4018. I would like to announce that our May guest is Danita Grigsby. So we're going to keep it all in the family, right, John? And I want to thank our guests who are here. We have with us Councilwoman Carmela Williams, and we have Kevin Kay and Dwight Gilmore. And so we're real pleased that you've been able to join us today as well. Thank you, everyone. I can't say enough thanks to everyone who's been here. And so please stay with us because we're still on Zoom. And if you'd like to have a further conversation, we're here to interact with you. Thank you again.